I was supposed to have pledged a lifetime of love to become husband and wife, but my marital life with him became a hell for me. Parents-in-law who dote on their son and a husband who prioritizes his parents over me. They treated me conveniently, imposing unreasonable demands. I won't let such people ruin my life. To punish everyone, I concocted a surprise. My name is Alyssa, 29 years old. I've been married to David for a year now. We work in the same company and often work together for projects. By the way, I don't have a college degree, but he does. I have been there a little longer, so I have more experience than him. Despite being a high school graduate, our company values ability over academic background, and with my good sales performance, I received a decent salary. On the other hand, David, who is capable and highly trusted by his colleagues, was a boyfriend that I could be proud of. I fell for him and gladly accepted his proposal, and we happily became a married couple. But then my in-laws began to interfere in our relationship. One day when we showed up at the in-laws' house, my mother-in-law suddenly said to my husband, "Hey, David, are you really okay with marrying Alyssa? You've always been good at both studying and sports, haven't you? Yet you chose a mediocre person like Alyssa." Upon hearing this, my father-in-law nodded in agreement. Yeah, at first glance, she seems like an average young woman with nothing special about her. That's what you're talking about? It's fine. I love Alyssa, my husband responded, saying that my mother-in-law gave me a sidelong glance. I am sorry I have nothing special to offer, but I've also put in my fair share of effort to take on grown woman responsibilities. I cursed them in my mind, but I never spoke out to maintain a peaceful marital life. I wanted to avoid conflict with my in-laws as much as possible. On another day, my in-laws started complaining in front of me. "Hey, David, are you really okay with your current workplace? That's right, isn't it a place where even a high school graduate like Alyssa can work? But well, the pay is good, and I have good colleagues. You're not the kind of man to stay in the same place as high school graduates, are you? That's right, you're smart. There must be many other good jobs out there." While glancing at me, they tried to persuade David. Believing that responding would mean losing, I deliberately didn't react, but I was seething inside. What's with that tone? I do my job right, and there's no difference in work whether you're a high school graduate or not. In fact, sometimes I earn more than David does. It's safe to say that I don't have a good impression of my in-laws who judge based on academic background or appearance. However, they don't physically bully me, and I don't suffer much direct harm. I told David in advance that I was a high school graduate, and knowing that, he told me, "I love everything about Alyssa. I have pride in myself for achieving results in a company that values ability over academic background. No matter what my in-laws say, I believed and never doubted that he was on my side." However, after a little while had passed, an incident broke out. Out of nowhere, my husband began speaking of something unbelievable. "Hey, I've been thinking. I've decided to switch to a different job." "Wait, what are you talking about all of a sudden?" "Well, I was talking to my parents, and I just realized our company even takes in a high school grad like you, Alyssa. I mean, I have a college degree, so there must be a better job out there for me." "Hey, are you serious? You're making fun of both me and the company, aren't you?" "But it's true, isn't it? There's no need for me to work at a job that even a high school graduate can do. Plus, my mom said she could introduce me to a job through someone she knows." "Stop it. We are blessed with a good work environment, and now you say something like this? You're nagging." I finally realized I'm not someone who should be stuck in a place like this. So this is the result of his parents influencing him. He's deemed to have taken his parents' words at face value and convinced himself that he was an excellent individual capable of aiming higher. The very next day, without discussing it with me, he submitted his resignation and casually left the company. Only a year into our marriage, my husband had resigned from the company where we met and did so without a second thought. Afterward, he switched to a factory job introduced by his mother-in-law, where his salary dropped to about half of what it was. The only advantage, if any, was that it was close to home, making commuting easier. About a week after the job changed, he began to complain about the factory. That guy, even though he never went past middle school, he has the nerve to tell me what to do. While scattering his clothes about, my husband spat out his words loudly. I stepped in to stop him. "Wait, why are you so angry? If you make such a loud noise, it's going to bother the neighbors. Shut up. Why do I, a university graduate, have to be bossed around by a low-level boss who's just a middle school graduate?" "Well, you just started there. It can't be helped. He's your boss, right? I don't care. He can't even study, but he has the nerve to boss me around. Damn it. Who's the real problem here? What can a newcomer do without instructions from your boss? You chose to switch jobs, so bear with it a little. I know that already. Will he be able to continue at his current workplace? How long can he endure the situation?" Nevertheless, my admonition only made his mood worse. Every day was a struggle to soothe him enough to get him to work. My doubts turned out to be right. One day, he caused a major issue at the workplace. "You broke the factory equipment." In response to my shock, my husband slammed his hand on the table. "It's not my fault. It's that damn boss who pissed me off." "But that doesn't mean you should break the factory equipment. That's absolutely unacceptable, right? What were you thinking?" I had no choice. That guy was bossing me around even though I'm a university graduate. The trigger was when his boss, who only graduated from middle school, criticized my husband for not working seriously. In response, my husband insulted his boss's academic qualification. As anyone could see, the fault was entirely with my husband, so everyone present sided with the boss. Enraged by this, my husband apparently went into a violent rage. In his rampage, the blood rose to his head, and he damaged part of the conveyor belt. He stopped the production line, resulting in him being fired and a large claim for damages. Since it was a factory that his parents introduced, the damages had to be paid entirely by him and his parents. As a result, not only did my husband lose all his savings, but even his parents' retirement fund seemed to have vanished in an instant. Though my parents are struggling right now, they're moving into this apartment next week. At his words, I let out an absurd gasp in surprise. "Living together. I never heard about this. You're my wife, right? Just listen and keep quiet. But this is a done deal. Got it?" With these words, he left the room with a bang. A few days later, my in-laws actually moved into our home. I thought it was a joke. Living together is absolutely impossible. I couldn't overlook this, so I confronted my in-laws directly. "Father-in-law, mother-in-law, living together is a problem." "Shut up. It's your fault, as well as the wife, that our son couldn't make it at the factory." "That's right. It's because you neglected David's mental care, isn't it?" Wait a minute. How does this become my fault?" "Can't you shut up? Our life is a mess because of you." "That's right. If you had done things right, this wouldn't have happened. It's all your fault, so living together is natural, right?" Huh? What is that? The logic is all messed up. Living together is impossible. Shut up. Our home was rented, and we've already terminated the lease. There's nowhere else to go. That's right. We have nowhere else to go other than here. Despite moving in without permission, my in-laws had a lot to say. Furthermore, even my husband began to insult me, egged on by his parents. "Hey, Alyssa, I married you. You should be happy to be married to someone as excellent as me, shouldn't you? Forget about that. Can't you start looking for a job soon? It's hard on the household finances now that we're living together." What did you say? You're cheeky for a wife. Supporting your husband is a wife's duty, and supporting your husband's family is also a wife's duty, right? Huh? I'm getting sick of my husband who spouts nonsense as if they make sense. Moreover, neither my husband nor my in-laws help with the household chores at all. I have a job too. I can't make elaborate meals, and the cleaning inevitably gets neglected. No matter what they say, I kept a cool attitude, saying because it's hard on the household finances. If they're not happy with it, they who caused the situation should do it. I kept this attitude for several days until one day my husband finally vented his frustration. "Hey, what's with your attitude? You're lacking respect for me and my parents. Enough already. I work every day and do all the housework. On top of that, you don't help at all. But you complain a lot." "Huh? What's with that tone of voice? You don't seem to understand your place, do you?" With that, my husband shoved divorce papers in my face. He had even kindly signed them. "What is this? Can't you see? It's a divorce paper. Even a high school graduate can understand that, right?" "Are you serious?" "Of course. If you have complaints about me and my parents, then we're getting a divorce." Staring at the divorce papers, my husband spoke with a triumphant look. "Let me tell you, even if you throw it away, it's useless. I have more prepared. Understand? If you don't want to be divorced, listen to what I say, you stupid high school graduate wife." In that moment, my rage burst forth from my entire body. I can't stand to be with these people anymore. Since he went to the trouble of preparing it, I'll put it to good use. Clutching the divorce papers, I began to plot my revenge. First, I recorded the numerous insults from my husband and in-laws on a voice recorder. When my belongings were deliberately broken, I also made sure to document that. By this time, my husband had started working odd jobs, like temporary work, but none of them lasted even a week. It was as if he had given up on our family. One day, as soon as my husband came home, he opened his mouth. "Oh man, I quit this job too because it was too boring." "Huh. Again, you have no right to complain to me, right, Dad, Mom?" My in-laws just nodded with smiles. This was a usual occurrence, but on this day my father-in-law delivered the final blow. "Speaking of which, I've quit too," David's father announced. "Father-in-law, what are you talking about?" "That's what I'm saying. I've quit my job. I'm planning to live off you, Alyssa." "Wait, what? You see, my son is too brilliant and prideful to work under those who only graduated in middle or high school. We're counting on you, Alyssa, a high school graduate, to work hard." "Yeah, let's count on our lowly educated Alyssa to work hard, right, dear?" What are they even saying? They intend to live off not their son, but their daughter-in-law. I couldn't stand it any longer. With my father-in-law and husband's simultaneous resignation, is that so? Understood. There was no point in spending any more time with this family. I finally decided to put all my plans into action. The first thing I did was to sign a contract for a new apartment. It's not for all of us to move in, of course. It's a new place for me alone. However, I needed time to move without my husband and in-laws noticing, so I gifted my husband and in-laws a 5-day trip to give me time to pack. Upon receiving the trip ticket, my mother-in-law was thrilled. A trip. "Oh, Alyssa, you do have a knack for these things every once in a while. I owe a lot to you all." "But are you sure, Alyssa? You can come with us if you like." "No, I have work. And please enjoy yourselves without any interruptions." "Oh, really? Well then, we'll take you up on your offer and have a blast." When the three left for the trip in high spirits, I carried out my planned move. During this time, I shipped my husband, in-laws, and belongings to the weekly apartment I had booked and canceled the current apartment lease. Of course, I bore all these expenses. It was a painful outlay, but I decided to consider it a necessary expense for my revenge. A few days later, my husband, who must have returned from the trip, called me. "Hey, what the hell is going on?" "I can't unlock the door." With a smirk at the sound of my husband's frantic voice, I calmly responded, "I suppose I've already canceled that apartment." "What? Canceled? What are you talking about? Explain properly." "For now, I've stored all of our belongings in a weekly apartment nearby. Feel free to do as you wish from there." "What? What does that mean? You always do as you please. If you get too cocky, you'll pay for it later. Are you threatening me? Should I call the police? Damn it. As my husband cursed, I dropped a bombshell. Oh, I'm not your wife anymore. What? To prevent any legal issues later, I've already completed the divorce proceedings. What? When? Such a selfish act. You think it's acceptable. Taking a deep breath, I spat out towards my phone. Sorry, but I don't need your permission. You've made fun of me for being a high school graduate long enough, and now you've quit your jobs to become temps. I'm done with you. Enjoy your family life without me. Hey, you must be kidding. I didn't really mean to divorce. Why should I listen to you at this point? We're strangers now. I don't care what happens to you at all. Please wait. You've enjoyed looking down on people, haven't you? I can easily imagine your struggles, and it makes me laugh. Go as low as you can with your family, you trash, I said, and promptly hung up the phone. After that, my husband, David, kept badgering me with phone calls, but I ignored them all. Later, David and my in-laws caused a ruckus at the entrance of the apartment building, traumatically damaging part of the mailbox, which ended up becoming a police matter. Apparently, they were taken away as is. Ultimately, they were asked to pay for the damages to the mailbox, which added to their debts. Truly, they are a hopeless family. The lease for the weekly apartment where I set my things is about to expire. Since they do not know my new address, they can't rely on me. I can't help but wonder how David, who quit his job at the same time as his father, and his stay-at-home mother are going to survive from here on out. To make matters worse, my in-laws have even canceled the lease of their rented family home. I can almost see them sinking into a bottomless swamp. I can't help but admire my well-executed plan. I don't know how they're going to survive from here on out, and frankly, I don't care. But it's clear their future isn't bright. They brought this upon themselves. On the other hand, I am living carefree in my new home alone. Being able to spend my time leisurely without anyone bothering me is the ultimate bliss. For the time being, I don't think I'll be living with anyone else from now on. I plan to thoroughly enjoy my time free of any worry.